Hello everyone and everything, and welcome back to more Hollow Knight. Last time, we only beat the Pantheon of Hallownest, the hardest challenge in this game. Or at least it would be if it didn't have binding challenges. And so that brings us to why we're back at all to begin with. What are we doing today? What is the reward for such binding challenges? Well, we're actually going to start tackling some objectives in a more twofold way. Because we are going to start picking our way across those nail-binding challenges, but first, we are going to head probably the last place you would expect, unless you already know exactly where I'm going. And that's going to be the Queen's Gardens. And that's because back when we did our little tour around the world, finding all of the different NPCs and everything they had to say and where their stories all ended, we were delivering some delicate flowers to some of them, and there was one delicate flower recipient I deliberately omitted, and this is going to be the easiest delivery in the world, because the junk pit is literally one of our spawn locations, and voila, a gift for you, my friend. An offering? Yes, the crawler makes us an offering. Rare bloom, tiny and pure. No god, though. No godliness, but still. What does crawler ask for in return? To touch? Our thick gleaming hide? To see? See the exquisite face beneath our mask? Such strange prayers. No, no! Crawler presumes too much. The gift is ours, kept by us, but our mysteries will be preserved. That's going to be important because it's essentially going to unlock an alternate ending for us. Not a different achievement by any means, but a small alteration. So now that that's been squared away, we're going to head up and go after the easiest binding on our way to finding that new ending, Soul. This is going to change very little about our strategies against just about any of these foes. So let's get at it. And while we're climbing our way up once again on the subject of endings, let's talk about what we saw at the end of the last episode. The Embrace the Void ending. So essentially, it's not made explicitly clear what happened, but the giant being of Void, not necessarily us, but at least all the Void rallied behind us, is a result of the knight going through the entire attuning process with the gods up here in Godhome. Reaching the Radiance at the very top of things, the Radiance being a being of dreams herself. To her, dreams are her reality, as a member of the Moth tribe, who have mastered dreams and all of its essences. Fighting her here ended up being just as real as fighting her within the Hollow Knight, and thus defeating her here, oh my goodness, I keep taking a lot of damage, and defeating her here, likewise resulted in her own being destroyed, and even more thoroughly, thanks to, I believe the community calls it the Shade Lord, that massive creature that ripped her to shreds. Unfortunately, after such a being was released, it wasn't going to stop with the Radiance. It moved on to the Godseeker herself, which ended up either causing her hive mind to join with it or destroying it and enabling it to break its way out of the Dream Realm and into Hollow Knight proper, which, while at least not an immediate problem, is most likely just as much of a threat as the Radiance is. But then again, that's just speculation. It might be a very benevolent Shade Lord, who knows? Afterwards, of course, we then see Hornet inside the Temple of the Black Egg, and the Nail of the Hollow Knight emerging from his slumber after the Radiance has been vanquished from his mind. He seems to be preparing for combat with Hornet, or maybe he just doesn't really have any other way he knows how to greet people. I mean, he was trained for combat for his entire life, so, you know. Ouch. Don't judge anyone for their social awkwardness. It's just a result of them doing their best. But that's really all I have to touch on the ending there, so no need to sit through all this again. I will meet you back at the peak. Wuggity 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 wiggity 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 wiggity. Queso. Opa. As usual, the biggest concern with having your soul locked down is that you cannot heal as much. Going in with a build based on Hive Blood could be good for that. I like, personally, having Grub Song. I think that helps just a touch, but honestly, like I said, not too much more to any of this than what we've already done. And, whoa, whoa, what was that? What was that? Wait, hang on. So this is the hardest part of pretty much any of the 4 bindings, is the combination of going from Markoth into Great Prince Zote. Unless, of course, you just don't have to deal with Zote at all, which is very nice. Very nice for you, at least. So since Zote is just such an odd foe who fights more with misdirection than anything, this is the one fight I end up feeling the most pressing need to practice on any given reattempt. And he can also be very threatening in his own right on a soulbound attempt, entirely because of that attack of his that is much easier to dodge with Desolate Dive than anything. Oh my goodness! But we're doing okay. Without Soul, this guy is far less cheesable. We can't just shred down his health bar with Abyss Shrieks, but we can at least heal all the way up, even if it does take a fair bit of time. This is one of the most significant changes in this fight, is that you no longer have the ability to heal tons up during this phase transition, but other than that, all's still pretty similar around here. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. Okay. Ow. Stop it. Ow. Ow. No! No! Oh. Dang it. Okay, once more onto the breach! Jeez, there we go. Okay. As I was saying, at least I think so, it's been like an hour and a half for me. The ending here is going to play out almost identically to how it already did. But with that slight change of when the pure void essence comes into contact with that flower, the flower eradicates it as thoroughly as the void eradicated the radiance. The White Lady once told us that the nature of the flower was something that we should probably fear, and I think we just found out why. They possess a subtle yet incredibly strong force. And it's a good thing we never have to touch one of them again, because apparently they could spell the end of us. To many people, including myself, that's just about the best possible ending you can get. You destroy the Radiance without having to risk Hornet's life, or even sacrifice the life of the vessel, and without releasing the possible nightmare that is the Shade Lord onto the Kingdom of Hallownest. All around seems to wrap things up in a neat little bow, but there is another ending variation we can get, and it comes from the least likely of sources. Quite a long time ago, we found, way down here at the bottom corner of the world, in a corner past a breakable wall, and beneath a million shaky surfaces, we found this very mysterious lore tablet that can only be read when you have the Spore Shroom Charm equipped. We speak the path of the Master Herald, he who would signal an age's end. And then from here, it lists a series of 8 locations: Spawn of Self, their mind unite; Aside the source of Acid Blight; A Glow in Darkest, Winding Depths; Winds all howl above fossil stone steps. Monarch flies in airs set still, to root's domain, and snail once shrill. Path of worm at new lands entered, their journey's end, the kingdom ventured. Alright, technically that was 7 locations, but 8 lines. And this is something of a riddle, one which we have already begun to solve, if only briefly. Because that first line, spawn of self, their minds unite, refers to the fungal wastes. Self, of course, referring to mushrooms, as it is a mushroom tablet. Their minds unite, referring to the mushroom hive mind and their telepathy. And we found here a mysterious gentleman by the name of Mr. Mushroom. So it seems we have 6 other locations that we might find him, starting with aside the source of acid blight. Well, acid blight probably refers to the acidic water permeating the kingdom. Takes a little bit of extrapolation to guess what the source of that acid might be. I'd have thought it was just natural, but there's only one tool that can be used to bypass it safely, and the area we receive such a thing would be as good a place to start as any. Now this one's actually a fair bit misleading. We're going to start down here near Isthmus Grove, but we're going to head out and around to Kingdom's Edge. In this chamber, just hug the left wall, and you'll find him in no time. Once again, make sure that you have the Spore Shroom equipped, otherwise he's just going to speak in mushroom gibberish. Worms pull bugs into their thrall, till ages pass and kingdoms fall. Caps and shells may fall to dust, but Mr. Mushroom readjusts. Shouldn't trust the eye they gave you. Rely on your own instincts. If you've got a king nose, use it. And while you're hunting for secrets, beware those who are hunting you. Oh, excuse me. Like before, he doesn't really seem to be talking to us, but once again, as one of the mushroom folk, he does have a form of telepathy. Now let's see where our third location is. A glow in darkest, winding depths. Well, that's pretty easy. That's undoubtedly referring to Deep Nest. But Deep Nest is a pretty big place, so where exactly? Our only other hint is a glow, and there's only a couple places that I would describe as bright, and one of which is right down here, round where we fought Galleon. Pretty large concentration of glowing mushrooms. Seems just the sort of place Mr. Mushroom might be right at home in, and indeed, here he is. He has the same Dreamnail dialogue every single time, no matter where you find him, by the way. The dead can't make use of wealth in any case. What would they spend it on? Yes, a big brood like that, they need food, and shelter, and toys. If you keep some for yourself, well, I think you deserve it. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so we're not really learning anything substantial here, are we? We can only guess at who he might possibly be referring to. Other telepathic friends, other NPCs we may have met already? Maybe that was Millabelle talking about the dead can't spend their money, so she might as well keep it or something? I don't know. In any case, our next line of dialogue is winds all howl above fossil stone steps. And the windiest place we know is up in the Howling Cliffs. No more hints more specific than that, but the Howling Cliffs is a fairly small area. Should not take long to scour, and to eventually search in the back of Nailmaster Motto's hut. Do you have anything to say about a talking mushroom in the... Nope, you don't. Alright, well, that would at least slightly concern me, but regardless. What was called a hero in its moment may be called something very different after time has passed. The crimes and triumphs of our predecessors echo all around us, don't they? The chains of fate, they bind us all together. Do you really want to break them? Oh, excuse me. Our next line, monarch flies and air set still, refers to the area where we first got our monarch wings, way down in the ancient basin. Well, if things are getting too dangerous down there, maybe it's time to take a break. Come back up and spend some time hunting, or gathering, or wandering aimlessly. No, not too much longer now. Oh, excuse me. To root's domain and snail once shrill may require a bit of brain-teasing memory, is you'll have to remember where we first found the snail shaman from whom we got the howling wraiths. And he's not far from the overgrown mound, right below it, in fact. I haven't seen her, no. I'm sure you'll remember where you left her eventually. Trust the moon, or yourself, or trust her. You need to trust something, that's my point. Hmm? No, not him, no. Absolutely not. Oh, excuse me. Fun little glitch here is that, even though he's despawned, until we leave the room, we can still nail Pogo on him and dream nail him. Funny little oversight. And our final location, Path of Worm at New Lands Entered, must certainly refer to here, where our journey very first began. In the King's Pass. It's not by tools that you'll triumph, it's through your smarts, your speed, your determination. Oh, I see. So you've been following me around then. I hope my travels haven't confused your own, distracted you. Then again, a meandered journey still has meaning. It is, after all, from a journey we find our purpose, though a stop is more than just a stop. And my, if those stops can't be lovely things, wouldn't you say? Transcendent plateaus, distant sandy lands, vast ancient kingdoms. Yours was not the first, nor will it be the last, but it's a unique and special thing, nonetheless. Now with my duties here finished, it's time I made graceful departure. Till next time, my friend, 'tis a long road we tread, but a joyous one. Until our paths cross again. Their journey's end, the kingdom ventured. It's not apparent what that does right now, but I'll say all we need to do now is end the game in any way we know how. Essentially achieve any ending. So we might as well make that the Embrace the Void ending, because we've still got to do it 3 more times anyway. And I'm going to make it what is, in my opinion, the second easiest. Finding Shell. Like with our bound soul, when we bind our masks, almost nothing about our tactics is going to change, but we are going to have to be essentially just much more careful, because we are now allowed to make far fewer mistakes. You might consider some specific charm builds, such as a healing-centric build. That could definitely do you some good as well. Personally, I've decided, just for fun, to give the Vengeful Spirit build the old college try. There we go, I'm at the full health. The principle of this strategy is to do damage so fast that you take so little damage that you gain so much lifeblood that you end up having the same, if not more, health than you would normally. And the results speak for themselves. She didn't even get an attack off. 10 lifeblood masks. I don't think I've ever had this many. Oh my god, that was so fast. Alright, I keep gaining 1 mask per... Now I have 11. This is going great. 14! Oh, this is good. This is good. Yes, they can go off the screen. I'm not good enough at this game that we'll probably see that, but it is possible. This is where I lose all of the masks, but this is what it was all for. Was a combination of this fight and Zote, or why I want to have a big backlog. I'm not even worried about Radiance with it. It's just these two. Alright, now that's all good fun, but honestly, going in against these last two, I would rather just have as many hits as I can take. The main concern, as I said, was Markoth into Zote. That is genuinely the toughest combination that they have to throw at you. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna think it, I'm gonna knock on wood, but I'm not even gonna say it. Alright, and oh shoot, this is what I get for thinking it. Oh gosh, I thought it. Oh goodness. Ow. Crap. Out of here. Go up. Go up. Go up. Ah. Go up. Thank you. Okay. Woo. Alright, there it is. Once again, it doesn't matter which ending you get after finishing the Mr. Mushroom little side quest. And all of them will play out exactly the same with one tiny difference. Apparently I was mistaken, it's actually not even a part of the ending cutscene, and this is the very first time I've ever gotten the achievement that we are about to get. Which is why I did not know exactly how that worked. Mr. Mushroom rocketing off towards who knows where. And as a final note, I may as well mention that the dialogue he speaks in his very first encounter is very possibly a reference to Team Cherry's very first game, which some people don't really count because it was part of a game jam, and therefore about as polished as dirt, but the parallels that they're speaking of are very likely. It's about helping a friend, it's about being hungry and eating a lot, having quite the appetite, and still, we all move on, sooner or later, to greater things. An allusion to how much of a greater thing this game is than Hungry Night, perhaps? Very likely. With all that said and done, there will only be one more episode with this game file. We have gotten nearly everything done in this game, all but 2 achievements, and a little more to go. So I will see you guys next time.